What is going on, wrestling fans? It's your boy D-WIZZLE. Thank you as always for tuning back to the channel. And today I want to give my quick thoughts on the 1000th episode of SmackDown Live. Now I know normally I don't really review the weekly roster shows like Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. But since this is a monumental event, or at least it's how it advertises to be, I think this is something worth talking about. Since SmackDown is my favorite roster, or it was my favorite roster until NXT came around, but for a while SmackDown has been my favorite brand, and I definitely wanted to put in my 2 cents about how I thought the show went. So I didn't review Raw 25, and good thing I didn't, because I was actually really disappointed with Raw 25. Just have a 25-year culmination, and they barely put any effort into it, or nothing at all. There were some nice things here and there. Of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin was literally the best part of the show, and it was cool to see the old Raw arena and stuff like that. But it's just, they just could have put more into the entertainment aspect, and some of the writing was not that great. Even the wrestling was an afterthought on that show. But I was very let down. However, all things considered, I was still really excited for SmackDown 1000. One, given that SmackDown as of late has been doing some decent shows for the past month or two. It's nothing spectacular, but they do what they need to do. Like it does what it's supposed to, pretty much. As far as building up their rosters and characters and storylines, they do enough to get me invested, a lot more than I do with the stuff on Raw. So I was really excited to see what they would do for the 1000th episode of SmackDown. I was expecting quite a lot of guest appearances, some legends coming back, probably see some interactions with the new and old superstars, possibly see the old SmackDown Fist Arena. I was just expecting a lot of exciting stuff, and then also bring some time to build to Evolution and Crown Jewel, which I'm surprised they're going to still be doing Crown Jewel. I will talk about that in another video. But overall, I just hoped it was going to be really exciting, and I'll be honest, guys, I was a bit let down with this show. It wasn't awful. It was better than Raw 25, but honestly, nowadays, that's not really saying a lot. This show was just disappointing. It's just another special where they just barely put any effort into it, and where there were some highlights here and there, but overall the show could have been a whole lot better. One of the main things that bothered me about SmackDown 1000 is its production. The editing was a bit off. The whole show felt rushed, pretty much. The first half wasn't as rushed, but when it got to the second half of the show, it starts to feel like they were just skimming through segments, like they didn't have much time. The show was still 2 hours, like it is weekly. And normally I'm okay with that, because Raw's 3 hours, it feels a bit overwhelming, and that's one of the things that I liked about SmackDown, that it was a good solid 2 hours where it gave enough time to the wrestlers, but at the same time it didn't overstay its welcome, and it gave enough time and it gave the right time to develop storylines and characters. But honestly, this is one of the very few moments where I'll say that I think this show should have been 3 hours, because when it got to the second half of the show, it felt like they barely had any time to stay with the segments and the wrestling overall. It just felt like they were skimming through stuff, or felt like stuff was missing. So that's one of my biggest problems. Another thing is that for this to be an anniversary special, this show had to be filled up with nostalgia, and you had plenty of stuff to go off of, but there were barely any significant cameos or guest appearances from legends or other staples of SmackDown. We'll get to who actually showed up in a minute, but it's just like there wasn't as much appearances as there should be, especially from people that helped build SmackDown from the ground up. We started off the show with Truth TV, which honestly I actually really enjoy Truth TV. I like the chemistry that R-Truth and Carmella's doing, and I do like when they'd have their dance breaks. I think that's pretty funny. But I thought that was an odd way to start the show. I thought it would have been something a little bit more surprising, and then they start doing something that I felt was very similar to how they opened Raw 25, where they had Stephanie McMahon come out, because she is the first general manager of SmackDown, so I knew she had to be there, even though I can't stand Stephanie, but I knew she had to be there. And then Shane McMahon came out, and I was happy to see him. We haven't seen him for months, and then you just have the typical face versus heel manager promo between Shane and Stephanie. So I'm like, okay, here we go again. And then out of nowhere, here comes Vince McMahon coming out, and he's talking about, oh, it's all about nobody wants to hear you two bicker. We're about the entertainment. The E in WWE stands for entertainment. So you know what? Let's go into another dance break. Okay, then they all get into a dance break, and then it just immediately cuts to commercial, which I thought was really odd. But literally, like, that whole opening segment felt similar to the segment on Raw 25. So I'm like, that was very familiar. And then it wasn't even that great of a segment, really. I mean, yeah, the Truth and Carmella stuff was pretty good, but it's like I expected like something to really pop off on the show. But anyway, then the show continues. There's a tag team match with Daniel Bryan and the WWE champion AJ Styles versus the Usos, which was okay. I mean, their match was fine. It was pretty solid. Of course, expect them to do some pretty good work. The Usos, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles in the same ring. Yeah, that's pretty entertaining. But once again, I felt like they missed an opportunity. You have the Usos there. Why couldn't you have Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty? I think that's what his name is. Yeah, you could have done like an 8-man tag team match with the Usos and Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty. Because I knew they were staples of SmackDown, but they were no show. But overall, that match was pretty solid. They did some build up with Crown Jewel between Daniel and AJ, I guess a little bit, but nothing there where I was like, oh, that was amazing. So, but I still continued on the show, but like, okay, maybe they're saving something big. So we continue on, and then we have a backstage segment with Paige, and then all the previous general managers come in. We have Vicky Guerrero, excuse me, coming back, and then it's okay. And then we have Teddy Long coming back. So I was happy to see him. And then you have John Laurinaitis, Mr. People Power himself. Yeah, they're all together in the back, and that was pretty much it. It was only like a minute or so. So I mean, that was cool to see all of them, but they didn't really do much there. And then you have the whole segment. Well, this is one of my favorite parts of the show. You have Evolution, Randy Orton, Triple H, Ric Flair, and the returning Dave Bautista. The whole stable came back to do a segment, which I thought was really good. With Randy Orton being in the segment, I was wondering if he was still going to keep his heel persona, and surprisingly enough, he did. He was throwing shots at Triple H, Ric Flair, and Batista. And mostly they gave. And for this segment, they mostly gave Batista the floor because he's been gone for quite quite a while. So, and he was just pretty much thanking the fans. SmackDown 1000 was in his hometown, Washington D.C. So he was pretty much thanking the fans and showing his appreciation of wanting to entertain the people. And he was just so happy to be a competitor in the ring. And then that's where he pretty much acknowledges the other Staples accolades. Like, he goes to Randy Orton and he's like the youngest world champion in history. Then he goes to Ric Flair, being like, this man needs no introduction, 16-time world champion. And then he goes to Triple H, being like, the 14-time world champion. There is nothing in this business that Triple H hasn't already done except beat me. And when he said that, I was like, oh, shots fired. It's like, are they going to set up a match between Batista and Triple H? That was something I was really hoping to hear, that Batista is going to return to the ring, because honestly, I miss Batista. I would really like to see him back in the WWE, but I know he has some contract obligations with the films that he's making, so he probably doesn't have time right now. But after that shot that he gave to Triple H, I was hoping that maybe they were going to set up a match. I don't know if it'll be for WrestleMania, but I'm like, I was was that a sign of things to come? We can only hope so. But then this is where the editing and stuff started to get weird. So we had a qualifying match between a World Cup qualifying match between Rusev and The Miz. Who's going to compete in the tournament at Crown Jewel, and it was just very abrupt. Like there were no entrances for The Miz or Rusev. They just immediately start the match, and Rusev was just getting some good offense on The Miz, and then Aiden English comes out and interferes and costs Rusev the match with a roll up, and that was pretty much it. And then Rusev comes and attacks Aiden English, and right in the middle of him attacking, they just immediately cut to Hall of Famer, Rated R superstar Edge, and Kurt Hawkins in the back. It's cool to see seeing the two-thirds of Edge's stable together, but it's like that's where it just felt rushed, because we were literally right in the middle of Rusev attacking Aiden English, and then they just immediately cut to Edge and Kurt Hawkins in the back, which just felt so weird and jarring. But anyway, then we get to another really good segment with Edge coming out and doing his Cutting Edge show with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, and I thought that was actually really, really good. Obviously, Edge is talking about how much SmackDown means to him and how much this felt like his show, and he was bringing up certain good moments, like his match with Eddie Guerrero, no disqualification, or how he cashed in his Money in the Bank on The Undertaker. So I thought that was really good. But for this episode of The Cutting Edge, he was trying to be the voice of reason for Becky Lynch and Charlotte. So Becky Lynch comes out and he has a heart-to-heart with her. And it's just... And this is just another example of, even though these legends aren't around, anymore, like, these legends were professionals at cutting a promo. Edge has not lost his touch at all. When he's talking on the microphone, you want to hear what he has to say. And when he was giving this heart-to-heart to Becky, I felt the emotion from him. Like, what he was saying, was true. And just like, from the advice that he's giving to Becky, it's like, for a moment, you were hoping, Becky would, turn over a new leaf and actually, consider what Edge is saying. But we all know Becky's not going to change instantly like that. Instead, she's like, she doesn't care about how much of a hard ass she is to Charlotte, and she just cares about herself and being champion. So at this point, I guess now they're just really trying to push her as a heel, which I went on a rant about that in my Super Showdown review. But it's just this is not the direction for Becky, and I'm really wishing they wouldn't do that. And she even insulted Edge about his neck injury, and I thought that was really low. So I wish they didn't do that. But then eventually Charlotte came out and attacked Becky. And then, yeah, you had a brawl in the middle of the ring. So overall, the segment was really good. It's just I still don't like the direction that they're doing with Becky Lynch. I thought she was gonna have a match with Charlotte tonight, but I'm relieved that they didn't because they already had two matches, so it would have felt overwhelming. So yeah, save the match for Evolution. But yeah, I just really wish they would go in a new direction with Becky. So next you have the rematch from Super Showdown. You have the New Day versus the Bar for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Another pretty solid match. Pretty much felt the same as their match at Super Showdown. There wasn't really anything different that they did here, other than the fact that the Big Show came out and turned heel and cost New Day the tag team titles. And so yeah, the Bar's the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions with the help of the Big Show. So are they going to become a new stable now? I was a bit confused. And I thought the Big Show was a babyface because like the week before he was in a match with Randy Orton, and he was pretty much a babyface there, but now they just want to turn him heel out of nowhere. So where is this going to go? I don't know. I'm glad the Bar is now the tag team champions because we need a new pace with the championships. But I'm just confused why Big Show got involved. It's just odd to me, but maybe they'll explain it the next week or something like that. But overall, I'm glad that the Bar won. So and then you have let's see, and then you have the another Crown Jewel tournament qualifying match between the returning Rey Mysterio and the United States Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm once again glad that Rey Mysterio is back, and he's going to be a full-time wrestler for I think the next 2 years. I think he signed a 2-year contract, but it's so great to see Rey Mysterio. It looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He pretty much looks the same as he was 10 years ago, and he's still pulling off moves just as good as he used to. So I'm like, this guy does not age. I think he's just at the peak of his career right now, with him being in doing some stuff with New Japan Pro Wrestling, stuff like that. So I'm really glad he's able to come back. I hope they give him a good enough push. I hope he doesn't get put to the side like Big Show and other returning members. But and also Shinsuke has not competed in quite a few weeks, maybe a month, so it's great to see him back. I know he said he's not going to compete on SmackDown until he finds a worthy opponent, and Rey Mysterio I think is probably the best opponent he's had in a while, because this match was really, really good. I was worried how Shinsuke's style was going to mix with Rey Mysterio's high flying, but it worked really, really well. And surprisingly enough, Rey Mysterio beat Shinsuke, and he qualifies for the tournament. So since he beat the United States champion, does that mean he's going to get a future U.S. title shot? I'm hoping so. It would be really nice to give Rey Mysterio a shot, a run with a title. I'm not expecting with the WWE championship, but definitely I think he deserves a U.S. championship run, because I don't think he has been U.S. champion. At least I don't think. Do you guys know? Comment down below, let me know. But I don't think he has been United States champion. So I think it'd be cool to have him run with the title. And then the show continues to rush, because I guess we only had 5 minutes left. So The Undertaker comes out in the middle of the ring and literally says he has 2 words for DX at Crown Jewel: rest in peace. And then I shit you not, that's literally all that he says, and then that's how the show ends. I'm like, seriously? That's He literally only had time to say rest in peace. Like, I was expecting him to talk about his history on SmackDown, how, he's, been the cornerstone for SmackDown, like, all the rivalries that he's had, or any of that, but no, he just says rest in peace to DX, and the show's literally over. Like, that's what I meant when the show felt so rushed. I just didn't understand it. I'm like, what was the point, really? That's why I feel like this show should have been 3 hours, because it would have let other, matches and segments breathe more, and it wouldn't feel like a rush job like it did now. And with my other issues, like, you didn't have The Rock on SmackDown 1000 or John Cena. Neither of them were there. And like, John Cena could only, The Rock could only do a message on Twitter about, about SmackDown 1000. He couldn't even do like a Skype thing like John Cena did. But even then, with the Skype thing with John Cena, I was like, really? You didn't have time to be on SmackDown? You had time to be at the Super Showdown, but you couldn't make an appearance? It would have been nice to see, the Doctor of Thugonomics or something like that. But no, they don't do that. But yeah, The Rock couldn't even just do a video chat or something like that. If he couldn't do it, I know he has some movie obligations, so that's probably why he couldn't be there. But like, he could have just done a video chat or something. But it's like SmackDown is Rock's show, probably just as much, if not more, than John Cena. So it's like he could have made time for it. And it's just like, there's other cameos that I'm surprised didn't make it. Where's JBL? And like, where's, for the commentary, they got Jerry the King Lawler and Booker T, and I'm like, I mean, that's cool and all, but where was Michael Cole and Taz? Because they have been the two of the main commentators on SmackDown, but they weren't there. Where was Chavo Guerrero? Where was where was the other divas that were in SmackDown? It's just, they just didn't take the opportunity to, call these people up and just make a quick appearance. And then when they were highlighting footage from previous, years from SmackDown, they just did stills. They didn't actually have, video footage, which I think could have done better. I mean, yeah, you had the video footage, for the opening of SmackDown, but it's like you could have used the same thing in between the shows instead of just showing stills. And then, as far as the arena goes, you could have used the SmackDown Fist Arena, but no, they just used the basic SmackDown Arena, which I'm like, what? I mean, really, guys? That's it? It's just, there were so many missed opportunities. Why was Brock Lesnar on the show? Like, couldn't he make an appearance? What about Paul Heyman? Why couldn't he make an appearance? What, MVP? Mr. Kennedy? Like, Kane? Yeah, Undertaker was there, but Kane wasn't there for some reason. I don't understand it. I mean, and Zack Ryder, since you had 2 of the 3 stables for, Edge, like, why wasn't Zack Ryder there interacting with Kurt Hawkins and Edge? Like, what was going through their mind? Where was Matt Hardy? Where was Jeff Hardy? Like, there was just so much stuff they could have done better. But it just felt like another episode of SmackDown with some guest appearances here and there, which we've already been getting on Raw for the past couple of weeks. So it's just like, this felt like a very lackluster show. So overall, I didn't think the show was awful. There was some entertaining stuff here and there, but overall, it just felt like a lazy anniversary show. That's like a few notches up from Raw 25 to me. So overall, I'm going to give SmackDown 1000 a 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, just not as great as it should have been. I hope they get their act together by the time, SmackDown 25 years comes. I hope they do a better job then, but, I'm holding my breath on that one. But yeah, what did you guys think about SmackDown 1000? Did you guys enjoy it more than I did, or did you guys have the same opinions I do, or did you guys hate it more than I do? Comment below and let me know. Thank you for listening to this rant. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you'll be updated on future videos I'll be doing. Subscribe. Trying to get to 100 subscribers. Hopefully we can do that in the next 2 years. We'll see. But thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.